So Zuckerberg is completely bending the knee, 100%. Like this is like a level of knee bending and toe kissing that would rival like the business magnates in the Weimar Republic. Like I'm not even joking with that. Just
hey everyone, I want to talk about something important today because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years. There's been widespread debate about
right before he released this video, by the way, guess who joined Meta's board of directors? Dana White. Remember? He's been showing up a lot with Trump. Oh, are you kidding me? No. It's like the most open, naked oligarchy you could imagine. It is the most straightforward, like obvious, in your face. If you're a billionaire, you're in the club. If you're not, you're not. We're all consolidating. All of our interests are aligned. Genuinely, like there's no. It's basically like Russia level, I guess, in terms of like the degree to which it's hidden. Actually, it's arguable. I think Putin might actually do a better job of pretending there is a meritocratic justification for some of his some of the people that he keeps in power. In this case, like there is none. It's literally just if you're wealthy and a friend of Trump's, then yeah, you know. It's remarkable. But yeah, anyway, let's watch this. I can summarize it, by the way. Now Zuckerberg is going to make Instagram and Facebook return to their original roots of free speech, which means they're getting rid of fact checkers. They will no longer have fact checkers. They're going to use a community note system just like Twitter does. They're just fully like, oh, thank you, Elon. Thank you for this great idea. We don't need like fact checking or objective standards of truth. He's moving his headquarters to Texas out of California, and he implies he's doing so because like California's gone woke. Like it's that level.
Potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there. Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation. These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural...
The idea that right-wing content is getting inadvertently censored on Facebook is so ridiculous that it's actually laughable. Like, is that the experience the average person has when they go on Facebook? Like, oh man, conservative voices are getting shut down. Like, Facebook has long been an insane shithole of conservative boomer slop, and this like again, like, so the reason Zuckerberg is doing this is not because he's ideologically had a shift to the right. Obviously his opinions are irrelevant. Material conditions are all that apply to a person like this. Okay, he wants to move to Texas because housing costs in California continue to rise, and there are a lot of like tech sectors opening up in Texas because people are like trying to jump into big cities while fleeing the high housing costs of California. So it's an opportune time to jump ship and move over there. That's one. For two, state taxes. For three, it allows him to signal allegiance to Donald Trump and to MAGA. The main concern that he has is that now that Trump is running the government, they are going to weaponize the DOJ to constantly harass corporations that don't do literally everything they say, you know? Like, imagine a DOJ that opens up investigations or threatens to open up investigations every time you ban a right-wing content creator who objectively violates your terms of service. Don't want that. So, you know, you need to do everything possible to indicate that you're on their team. That's what all this is about. It's just about fealty. Who even uses Facebook anymore? Billions of people.
Tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X, starting in the US. After Trump first got elected in 2016...
So pathetic. Keep in mind, Facebook and Instagram are many, many times larger than Twitter. This is only being done because Elon's the shadow president. I'm not joking. That's the only reason he's saying this. Can you, like, think in the highly competitive and adversarial world of big tech, the idea of a megacorp like Meta looking at a failing, bleeding money, losing users business like Twitter and going, yeah, we're going to reorganize things to be more like them. We're going to name them. We're going to name drop the competitor that we are borrowing a feature from. Do you hear that typically? Is that something you normally hear from big tech companies? Like when Apple does a presentation about a feature they're adding, do they normally say, yeah, we're going to get this. We got this from the Zune. Yeah, our new like iPhone, this is like a Zune feature. We're going to do it like the Zune, like a failing competitor. Yeah, this is a hostage video. Okay.
The legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth.
All of this is just right-wing language. Like this playbook, this is like verbatim, you know, the legacy media.
But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse. What started as a movement to be more inclusive...
What he's saying is he's going to roll back hate speech TOS restrictions because the Overton window is shifted so far right that being a neo-Nazi is now like an accepted political position. Like it's been, even though it's rarely enforced, being openly like genocidal against immigrants or trans people is nominally at least against the rules on Facebook. And he's essentially like, that's going to be rolled back. I don't know how much it's going to be rolled back, but it's going to be rolled back because now those positions are basically like held by a substantial portion of the population.
Has increasingly been used to shut down opinions and shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone too far. So I want to make sure that people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platforms. Third, we're changing how we enforce our policies to reduce the mistakes that account for the vast majority of censorship on our platforms. We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation. Now, we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal and high-severity violations. And for lower severity violations, we're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action. The problem is that the filters make mistakes, and they take down a lot of content that they shouldn't.
Facebook deletes internal employee criticism of new board member Dana White. Oh, that's a great first day for a new era of free speech and open discussion. Monday, Zuckerberg made a post on a platform for Meta employees called Workplace, announcing that Meta is adding Dana White, John Elkann, and Charlie Songers to the company's board of directors. Employee response to this was mixed, according to screenshots of the thread obtained by 404 Media. Some posted positive or joking comments. Major W, one employee posted, "We hire Conor McGregor next for work sparring. Joe Rogan may be next." A fourth simply said lol. But other employees criticized the decision and raised the point that there is a video of White slapping his wife in a nightclub. White was not arrested and was not suspended from the UFC for domestic violence incident. Why would they suspend someone from the UFC for domestic violence? That's like their entire supporter base. Kind of disheartening to see people in the comments celebrating a man who was on video assaulting his wife and of another who is recently convicted of rape, referring to White and McGregor. Several posts criticizing White were deleted by Meta's internal community relations team as violating a set of rules called the Community Engagement Expectations, which govern internal employee communications. Very nice. Literally censored by HR. Yeah. I mean, you can call for the death of trans people, but God forbid you criticize our like rapist oligarch overlords. It's Russia shit, man.
So by dialing them back, we're going to dramatically reduce the amount of censorship on our platforms. We're also going to tune our content filters to require much higher confidence before taking down content. The reality is that this is a trade-off. It means we're going to catch less bad stuff, but we'll also reduce the number of innocent people's posts and accounts that we accidentally take down. Fourth, we're bringing back civic content. For a while, the community asked to see less politics because it was making people stressed, so we stopped recommending these posts. But it feels like we're in a new era now, and we're starting to get feedback that people want to see this content again.
Oh boy.
So we're going to start phasing this back into Facebook, Instagram, and Threads while working to keep the communities friendly and positive. Fifth, we're going to move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California, and our US-based content review is going to be based in Texas.
Just the most like obscene, pathetic, like his forehead is touching the ground.
As we work to promote free expression, I think that it will help us build trust to do this work in places where there is less concern about the bias of our teams.
They were suppressing politics, didn't feel like it. What he likely means is just that the algorithm is going to start promoting right-wing people more often now. That's it.
Finally, we're going to work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more. The US has the strongest constitutional protections for free expression in the world. Europe has an ever-increasing number of laws institutionalizing.
Also, I know I'm very much like preaching to the choir here, but are liberals at all questioning like how easy it is for people who run our economic system to kowtow to fascism the moment they get the opportunity? Like, to the liberals who think that our economy is like a politically neutral institution and that like Trump is the bad guy here, isn't it interesting how all of these, you know, like the tech giants, social media, all of these ultra wealthy people are consolidating, almost like there's an innately Hitlerite quality to a system that allows some people to amass hundreds of billions of dollars with a different set of economic interests to the majority of the population. You know what I mean? You all understand, right? Like, this is what they've all been waiting for. It doesn't matter that he's cucking out. Like, he's cucking out. He's going to get wealthy anyway, you know? We can laugh at him cucking out, but it's not like he's getting hurt by this. He's just doing what makes sense, right? He curries favor with the, you know, fascist administration, and he, further cements his position within the legion of oligarchs. He's not losing anything. This has been decades in the making. It happens literally every single time fascists take over a country. Like, at some point you have to wonder, you know, why is it every time fascism grows in a country, the wealthy people in that country, particularly their oligarchs, their business magnates, the people, the 1%, whatever you want to say, the upper crust, they fall in line, they support them, they fund them to the top, and then they do whatever is necessary to secure their power. Like, every time. I've seen libs call him a white supremacist or some shit. They don't understand this is about class interest. Yeah, he doesn't give a shit about white or black people. It's not relevant. They don't understand. They're blind to class interest. They have no idea. For the exact same reason that like people like Elon, well, not Elon because he's genuinely like unfuckable and a loser, but people like Donald Trump can lead a fascist movement, but also have like, you know, transgender cocaine fueled sex parties at Mar-a-Lago, you know? They don't give a shit. They don't care. The idiots who care, the true believers, those are the voters. And maybe some of the like more, you know, fascistic people, you know, the lackeys, the stooges.
Censorship and making it difficult to build anything innovative there. Latin American countries have secret courts that can order companies to quietly take things down. China has censored our apps from even working in the country. The only way that we can push back on this global trend is with the support of the US government. And that's why it's been so difficult over the past 4 years when even the US government has pushed for censorship.
What is he going on about? This is in reference to the European Union. He's basically saying that he wants to form a united front with the federal government to prevent institutions like the EU from placing bans on or restrictions on like overt neo-Nazism in social media. And because we're the biggest, you know, because we're the biggest fish in the pond, we kind of have that. Yeah, Brazil did the same with Twitter. Yeah. They don't want any other country to be able to interrupt the like capital accumulation process that's being centered here in the United States.
By going after us and other American companies, it has emboldened other governments to go even further. But now we have the opportunity to restore free expression, and I am excited to take it. It'll take time to get this right, and these are complex systems. They're never going to be perfect.
Didn't he criticize the Trump administration in the mid-2010s? Yeah. Material conditions. They don't believe anything.
There's also a lot of illegal stuff that we still need to work very hard to remove. But the bottom line is that after years of having our content moderation work focus primarily on removing content, it is time to focus on reducing mistakes.
You know, this same shit is happening literally everywhere, like right now, right? Hollywood is going to start to cut back on LGBTQ representation. Disney's already done the same. There have been 2 controversies in the past few months of Disney axing queer content from their shows. No, they don't. None of the people on the top believe anything. You have to understand this, okay? For the ultra wealthy, for the shareholders, their only beliefs are material. They don't have any other beliefs. For the majority of them. There are some wealthy people with some convictions, you know, most of the time they're very bad convictions. Elon is, after all, very racist. You know, it's not like they can believe things. It's just when they do, it's usually worse. But yeah, they don't give a shit.
Stakes, simplifying our systems, and getting back to our roots about giving people voice. I'm looking forward to this next chapter. Stay good out there, and more to come soon.
Yeah, I remember this. ABC agrees to give $15 million to Donald Trump's presidential library to settle defamation lawsuit. ABC News has agreed to pay $15 million to the presidential library to settle a defamation lawsuit over anchor George Stephanopoulos' inaccurate on-air assertion that the president-elect had been found civilly liable for raping writer E. Jean Carroll. Sorry, yeah, it wasn't rape. It was sexual assault, right? Yeah, sexually abusing and defaming. Oh, sorry. You said that the president who had been found civilly liable of sexually abusing and defaming someone, you said they raped them. Well, sorry, $15 million gone. ABC News is owned by Disney. They could have fought the lawsuit if they wanted. Fought the lawsuit and earned the ire of the incoming president who will weaponize the DOJ against them. Nope. Donald Trump lies with every breath. But if you speak against him, truthful or not, you're going to be on the other end of a DOJ indictment. Disney also paid $1 million to cover lawyer fees. Well, yeah, of course. It's $1 million to not incur billions of losses that'll come from fighting Trump once he's in office. Let me worry about that, Spaced. Really remarkable stuff. I saw this as well. FTC Chair Khan hopes Amazon, Facebook won't get sweetheart deal from Trump in antitrust case. They probably will. They absolutely will. Yeah, why wouldn't they? Being a leftist feels so awful, like, you know how everything is by capital. The climate gets worse, the economy gets worse, everything gets worse, and it's because of, like, brown people or immigrants or, like, a black woman with 2 kids took too much, you know, off welfare or whatever. Meanwhile, $60 trillion is held in illegal tax-free offshore accounts. You know, faith leaders like 500 kids a week, but like one drag queen every year gets months and months of attention. Not even every year, yeah. The rich also speculate with artwork and keep them hidden in tax havens. Yeah, but that's not as necessary anymore. The reason the wealthy use artwork as a way of, like, storing wealth is usually because they're incapable of getting away with doing that more overtly through just holding wealth, you know? Nowadays, they can do it through Bitcoin, I guess. But nowadays, like, the regulators are basically on the side of the ultra-wealthy, you know? It's not like the 1940s or 1930s anymore. Like, the government isn't trying to crack down on the crimes of wealthy people, not even a little bit, you know? Like, we don't have a Teddy Roosevelt. We don't have, like, a people's president in office. We have the opposite. Not really good news, but it feels like the mask is finally peeling off the class conflict. I mean, like, I feel like the mask was off, and now, like, the mask is off, and the bourgeoisie are, like, jumping around and screaming and, you know, lighting flares and trying to draw attention to themselves. It feels, like, ridiculously overt, but yeah, I suppose. I don't know how much good it's going to do when, like, 90% of America gets all of their news from 3 social media companies that are owned by one guy, and the one guy is, like, in Trump's cabinet. You know, like, oh, man. And conservatives will learn nothing? Well, liberals won't either. It's not like liberals are a huge part of the reason why we're here, you know? The Democrats paved this path. The Democrats laid out the red carpet. All of the fundamental things that led to us being here now, the Democrats enabled, you know? Like, the Democrats didn't have an issue with every brick being laid along this path. They only had an issue with the ribbon being cut at the end. Like, every process, every systemic failure that led to this point, they assisted in it. They let the power of the capital grow and grow and grow and grow and grow, and they did nothing to push back against it, and now we're here. Wonder how life will be if general unhappiness keeps rising. There are plenty of countries around the world where unhappiness continues to increase, but nothing changes. We're in for a long one, I'm afraid. Maybe. We'll see. It'll be stable, which is the worst thing possible in this case. I don't know how stable it's going to be honest with you. The modern, complicated information economy might be a little bit more difficult to wrangle in than... It's not like this is Russia, which never had a democratic civil society. You know what I mean? The population here in America is loud and opinionated, and there's still, like, an artifice of very aggressive political participation in both directions all around the place. I don't know how easily you could, like, suppress all of that. I'm scared modern fascism might be more stable. No, I think it's the opposite. Modern fascism is likely less stable. You know, it's difficult to maintain, like, aggressive, you know, paleo-ultranationalism when your economy is definitively international, and so is your culture. Cope? You know, the deference to thought-terminating cliches when presented with contradictory information is part of the reason we're in this problem. You understand that, right? You're part of the problem, okay? Get over yourself. What comes after fascism? Well, historically, what comes after fascism is you get occupied by the United States for a decade or two, and a bunch of the capos of the fascist regime get put in managerial positions of the new ostensibly democratic government, but in reality it's not very democratic at all. And then people then you make like the Nintendo Entertainment System and people really like you. Who knows? And then rot our brains with drawn cat girls. That's the present.